As I drove up to the old mansion, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The sign reading "Room for Rent" seemed to mock me, its letters crooked and sinister. But I was desperate for a place to stay, and the ad had promised a cheap rent and a furnished room. I knocked on the door, and it creaked open by itself. I stepped inside, calling out to see if anyone was there. The only response was the echo of my own voice off the walls. As I made my way deeper into the mansion, I started to notice strange symbols etched into the walls. They seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, and I could feel a presence watching me. I tried to brush it off as mere paranoia, but the feeling only grew stronger. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of me. It was a woman with long flowing hair and a white dress that seemed to glow in the dim light. She smiled at me, but her eyes were cold and dead. "Welcome to your new home," she said, her voice dripping with malice. "You'll be staying with us for a while." I tried to run, but my feet felt heavy, as if they were rooted to the spot. The woman began to laugh, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. As the days passed, I realized that I was not alone in the mansion. There were others, all of them trapped in their own private hell. We were forced to participate in twisted rituals, our screams echoing off the walls as we were consumed by the malevolent force that dwelled within. And then, there was the roommate wanted ad. It seemed to change every day, the words shifting and twisting to reveal a new message. Roommate wanted, must be willing to share with darkness. Roommate wanted, must be willing to surrender their soul. I knew then that I had to escape, but it was too late. The mansion had me in its grasp, and it would never let me go. As I lay in my bed, I could feel the presence watching me, waiting for me to succumb to its will. And then, the darkness closed in, and I was no more. The mansion still stands, its walls bearing witness to the horrors that took place within. And the roommate wanted ad remains, a constant reminder of the terror that lurks within its walls. The scent of mildew and dust assaulted me the moment I stepped into the apartment. Cobwebs, like tattered lace curtains, draped from the high ceilings, and moonlight streamed through the grime-coated skylight, casting long skeletal shadows across the creaking floorboards. This wasn't exactly the charming sun-drenched studio the online listing promised, but desperation and a ridiculously inflated housing market had a way of warping reality. The landlord, a gaunt man with eyes that seemed to hold a lifetime of unspoken secrets, assured me the atmosphere was part of the building's unique charm. Charm, I wasn't so sure about, but the rent was undeniably cheap. Unpacking my meager belongings, the silence felt oppressive, broken only by the rhythmic dripping from a leaky faucet and the occasional groan of the ancient building settling. It was then I noticed the writing scrawled on the peeling wallpaper behind the bookshelf, a single word repeated in a frantic hand: "Beware." A shiver danced down my spine, an unsettling premonition, but I brushed it off as nerves. Little did I know that single word would become my chilling mantra in the weeks to come. The first sign of something amiss was the misplaced objects. My keys would vanish from the bowl by the door, only to reappear later, tucked behind a dusty picture frame. Books would tumble from shelves seemingly on their own, pages fluttering open to random, unsettling passages. At first, I chalked it up to exhaustion and the general disarray of moving. But then came the whispers. At night, lying in bed, I'd hear them faint murmurs that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. The words were indistinct, but the tone held a chilling desperation. And then, the cold, a bone-deep chill that would seep into my room, no matter how many blankets I piled on. It felt like a presence, a watchful entity clinging to the shadows. The other tenants, a motley crew of artists and students drawn in by the same siren song of cheap rent, experienced similar phenomena. A young musician swore his guitar strings would inexplicably snap while he practiced, replaced the next morning by instruments that played mournful melodies on their own. An aspiring writer claimed entire chapters would vanish from his laptop, replaced by haunting narratives penned in an archaic script. Driven by a morbid curiosity, we started digging into the building's history. The old librarian, a woman with a knowing glint in her eye, revealed a grim truth. The building had once been a boarding house, a place where dreams came to die. A fire, fueled by despair and longing, had claimed several lives, leaving behind a restless energy, a yearning for something lost. We were all drawn to this place, it seemed, artists, writers, dreamers, all harboring some unspoken yearning, some unfulfilled desire. And this yearning, this vulnerability, fueled the haunting. The whispers grew louder, the apparitions more frequent. A spectral figure, clad in tattered clothes, would flit at the corner of your eye, only to vanish when you turned. The coldness intensified, stealing the warmth from the very air. One by one, my fellow tenants started leaving. They couldn't take the constant unease, the feeling of being watched, judged by unseen eyes. But I, foolishly stubborn, clung on. Perhaps it was a twisted sense of responsibility, or maybe the chilling truth. The haunting wasn't confined to the building. It clung to us, a shadow cast by our own unspoken desires. One night, as the whispers reached a crescendo, I finally understood. It wasn't a malicious entity, but a reflection of our own internal struggles, our unfulfilled dreams, taking a spectral form. The key, it dawned on me, wasn't fighting it, but acknowledging it. I sat down at my desk, the floorboards groaning beneath my weight, and wrote. I poured my fears and anxieties onto the paper, acknowledging the darkness within. As I wrote, the whispers started to fade, replaced by a quiet acceptance. The next morning, the apartment felt different. The oppressive air had lifted, replaced by a sense of peace, albeit a somber one. The scrawled word on the wall still remained, "Beware," but now it felt like a warning, not against the haunting, but against ignoring the darkness within ourselves. I left a note for the next unsuspecting tenant, a warning and a challenge: face the shadows within, or risk becoming part of them. The building still stands, a monument to unfulfilled dreams and the lingering echoes of the past. Whether the cycle of haunting will break, only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the darkness resides not just within those walls, but within us all.